So, welcome back to this course, week 4 lecture for the course Introduction to Professional Scientific Communication. In the previous lecture, we have seen how do you put together a results section. We looked at how do you write results section, what are the non-textual forms of representing your results. We have looked at bar diagrams, figures, images. Finally, we have had discussion on schematic. Now, we are going to move to the next section of your work, that is to write the introduction. So, this is the slide that talks about the 7 basic steps to write very good paper. So, what we have said is you start with methods, go to results, then you write what is called as introduction, right. So, the introduction section, now you know what is your result, and now you have to write an introduction which would help the reader to appreciate what you have done and why you have done, right. That is extremely important. So, the introduction gives the reader the background as to what is known until you have started the work, what was the point that were missing, or what are the gaps in our understanding, and what were your objectives and what you have done, how you have done, and what observations you have made. Now you sort of the reader can appreciate that you are able to bridge the gap, if not completely, to some extent, right. But for that to happen, you should have really helped the reader to understand the background and appreciate your objectives, because that appreciation is important. Then only they can appreciate your results, right. So, that is what the introduction section is, that is to create an interest in the reader in the introduction section by signaling all its elements and stating the novelty of the work. You have to give the background and say why your work is important, whatever objective that you have stated that you are addressing. So, that is what you are going to look at it. It is not easy, it is not easy, and we have seen, we have discussed this point before, that whenever you start thinking about a paper, then you have to create certain bullets, and then the bullets should be made into sentences, and then you have to rearrange the sentences, and then in a particular order, then you are able to get what is called as materials method, results, and so on. So, what you are going to see is the introductory section, right. Now, that is what is shown in the red color box here. So, introduction section is something that explains the importance of your work, why your research is important, what is known about the topic, right, to even the reader to appreciate what you have done. So, you should say that, quickly summarize what is known before you started your work, what was known about the topic, what is your hypothesis, because you have looked at certain patterns or certain observation based on which you say that this is not known, and this is your hypothesis as to how possibly happening, right. That is hypothesis, and then you are going to say, you are going to test the hypothesis by asking certain set of questions which are called as objectives, and then you say that this is what my work was about, right. So, that is the introductory statement, and when a reader reads the introductory statement, then he is also curious, oh my god, this is a beautiful hypothesis, let me see what he has obtained through his work, right. So, it should be every section should be such that it compels the reader to go to the next section, right. So, that is very important in your writing. So, let us see how do you do that. So, again I am showing some of the guidelines given by the publishers from Springer. The introduction should provide readers with the background information needed to understand your study, right. So, you have to be very careful here. So, it says background information needed to understand your study. So, you should be very focused in the sense that what is that you have done, for that what relevant information that was known before you started your work should be given as part of the introduction, right. And then tell the reasons why you conducted your experiments, right. You have to say that these are the bottlenecks, these are the black box, these are the questions that were left unanswered, therefore I have conducted experiments. Then I am also as convinced as you are, because I am the reader and you are the writer. I am also as convinced you are that these are important questions to ask, therefore I would follow your results to see what you have gotten, right. The introduction should answer the question, what question problem was studied, and that is something that you need to really give. So even you have written introduction, identified a hypothesis, asked the question, towards the end of the introduction, you have to say even one line that you are able to address this, by whatever it is. Very small, brief, outcome of the results also should be shown. So while writing the background, make sure your citations are, you pretty much you cover everything. One, well balanced. Citation meaning you should acknowledge the previous literature, whatever knowledge that is there in the literature. You cannot be ignoring some and picking up some, right? So it should be well balanced. If the experiments have been found conflicting results on a question, you have cited studies with both kinds of results. Now you say that these are the questions people asked. One group of authors have said this, other group said this, and then you have to give that kind of important thing. Current, you cannot, you are starting a research say now, and you cannot talk about a paper that was published 15 years back and stop there. So you have not covered what happened last 15 years. That means that you are not aware of what had happened, right? So that would be weighed against you. So you should be up to date with regard to the information what you are providing in the introduction. Every field is different, but you should aim to cite references that are not more than 10 years old, unless it's something classic thing, right? Although be sure to cite the first discovery and mention the literature even if older than 10 years. If it is something, for example, you are talking about a function of a gene. Now the gene probably was identified 15 years back, but still you have to refer to that paper because that is the first paper that sort of characterized the gene. So maybe that is required. But after which, whatever you have to write is something recent. It's possible for a given gene, lot of work has been done. So you cannot cover everything. So you often cite reviews and give a summary of whatever finding, right? So that's the way you can do that. And relevant. This is the most important requirement. The studies you cite should be strongly related to your research question. So you have to be focused. You should be focused on the question that you are going to ask. So you have to bring the radar. It's called as a bird's eye view. So if you, for example, if you open Google Map, right, and then if you want to look at the location of, for example, Kanpur. Now, if I zoom into Kanpur and show some region of Kanpur city, I will not be able to understand as to where is Kanpur in the context of India. When I unzoom, when I go to the globe, then I can see that India and then Kanpur is somewhere in the northeast region, somewhere near the heart of India. So that is how you see that. So when you have that, you have to have a bird's view and then keep going to the point, the objective that you have. You have to take the reader to that particular, that's called as being focused. In that context, you should not cite that are not relevant to your work, even if it is own publication. So you may have published something in that field, just because you want to cite that paper, your previous paper. If it is out of context, then it may not really convey a good meaning. Therefore, you should avoid such kind of thing. So do not write a literature review in your introduction. It's important, right? When you write a thesis, you have a section called literature review, because that is important, because it is not only what you have done, but whether you have acquired the knowledge as to what is the state of the art. That is required in a thesis. But when you come for a research paper, your literature survey or literature review is not important. It should not be, rather, but you should cite reviews where readers can find more information. So you alert the reader to the literature and then be focused on the question that you are asking, right? So this is what it is. So when you talk about the introduction, it is something like an inverted triangle. So it is the area of the study, then you make general statement, and then you go to the specifics, and finally you arrive at the questions being investigated. So it should be focused exactly the same way I said. If you are looking at a Google map, first the country, then the state, then the district, then the town, street, house number, name, like the postal address. It's easy for you to locate or put in your map as to where that particular house is. If I start the reverse way, until I come, for example, I tell the name, somebody, a person's name, there will be so many, millions of them. If you say Sharma, there are millions of Sharma in the country, right? And you say how this Sharma lives in house 25. Now there could be, in every street there will be house number 25, then which 25? Then you say street name. Now if you take Mahatma Gandhi Road, every major town in the country will have Mahatma Gandhi Road. Then you say town, right? There are multiple, at times you have same name, Rajaji Nagar for example. You may find it in Lucknow, you find it in Salem, you may find it in Chennai. There are so many places. District, state, country, you have to go in the reverse way, therefore the reader can appreciate exactly as to what questions you are asking. So that gives a kind of, you have to stay focused. That's why you have to remember always the inverted triangle when you talk about, the same way as the postal address or the Google map, otherwise you would be able to show, right. General phases associated with writing an introduction. Establish an area to research, by, you have to narrate something to say that general area. Identify the research niche, that could be small zone in that area that you are interested in. Place your research within the research niche by asking specific questions, and some of them are being discussed now. Establish an area to research, highlighting the importance of the topic. You have to say what is important, why it is important to study, right. Making general statements about the topic, right. You better state with general statement. Presenting an overview depending on what is your objective, and so on. You have to choose one or more than one of the three statements that are made here, bullets that are made here. Identify nearest research niche. You can say that opposing an existing assumption. People would have said that this is what is existing. So you may want to say this is what literature says, this is what it is. For this reason, I think that is not correct, possibly in opposite, kind of way of looking at it. Revealing a gap. You say that all this has been done, but this particular question has not been addressed. This is critical information that is missing. Formulating a research question or problem. You have everything, but now you are going to the next level. So you say that all these are known, but now I am looking at the next level. So you state some new questions, problem, or continuing disciplinary tradition. We have cloned a gene. Now you are expressing a protein, you are making a functional characterization, you are identifying partners for the protein. This is the tradition that continues, and so on. So you have to narrate one or the other to tell the reader as to which direction you are going in the introduction. And place your research within the research niche. This is by stating the intent of your study, exactly what you wish to do, outlining the key characteristic of your study, describing important results, giving a brief overview of the structure of the paper. So you have to tell that explains. Even you give a glimpse of what your results are. Therefore, the readers are, they are not waiting for the whole end to, come to the end, but they know a take-home message, and then they keep continuing reading. So it's very, very important. So this is again, I am going back to this, the paper that you have been discussing, how to write first research paper, and it's written. Many new researchers mistakenly think that all the readers understand the importance of the research question and omit this part, right? Because you have understood that quite well, you assume everyone would know. So if somebody asks you immediately, one question is what, if you are a PhD student, somebody asks you what are you working on, then you would say often, here as a student, say that I am working on Mycobacterium tuberculosis. This is an answer, but it is not an answer, right? You are true that you are working on that, but it doesn't really help me to understand what exactly you are working on. So you have to tell more in a specific way. Therefore, introduction section is the one that helps you to convey the importance of your study. However, this assumption that the others know is faulty, because the purpose of the section is not to evaluate the importance of the research question in general. Nobody is questioning, but the goal is to present the importance of your research contribution and your finding. Nobody is saying that Mycobacterium tuberculosis is not a good area to work with, but you have to say what exactly you are asking in that particular area. Therefore, you should be explicit, clear in describing the benefit of the paper. The introduction should not be long. You have to remember this. Most often it is a page, 600 words, 800 words. It will not go, maybe 2 paragraphs or maximum 3 paragraphs. They will not allow you to write more than that. Therefore, you should use that space judiciously as to how you can highlight the importance of your work, right. This is a very brief section in about 250 to 600 words, some journals, but it might be the most difficult section due to its importance, because you want to really sell the importance of your study, right. So let's see how do you do that. So what you have done is, in results section, so you have sort of your in the introduction section, you have to introduce all the elements of the study and the novelty of the work. That is what you should sort of highlight. I have to change the figure later. So that is what we have discussed in terms of introduction. Now we are looking at the other section, perhaps the last section that you write before abstract and title is the discussion. The discussion section that you have, oh no, that's right, yeah, okay, let me redo this. So that's about the introduction section, right? So we have said that it's a brief section that gives you the opportunity to explain the importance of your work as to why your questions are important, and you justify that. It's difficult, but that's how you do it. Now we are going to go to the other section. What you have seen is introduction, and then we have looked at earlier results as well. Now we are going to go and discuss about the last section, that is the discussion section. The discussion section presents the principles, relationship and generalization in a concise and convincing tone. So basically you interpret your observations. What do they mean in the context of the literature? What do they mean in the context of other results and other reports that are there and exist in the literature and so on. And it's important to say that in a concise, you cannot be writing 100 pages. It could be 3 pages, 4 pages maximum, but it should be concise and convincing tone, that you should argue and convince the reader as to why that is correct. So if you again go back to this paper that talks about your first research paper, it says for the discussion section, for many scientists, writing a discussion section is as scary as starting as a paper, and every section is scary if you don't understand as to how you write it. Most of the fear comes from the variation in the section, because the way you write results is very different from the way you write discussion. Most often you get confused that discussion is nothing but result section, because I want to tell again about my results. It's not about the result, right? Since every paper has its unique results and finding, the discussion, the way you write could be very different as compared to your previous paper if you have written more than one paper. So you have to really think as to how I have to structure my discussion section. So the discussion section differs in its length, shape and structure. However, some general principles of writing this section still exist. You have to think of that you have to apply one or the other. Knowing these rules, or moves what they call, because you will be taking each point and discuss one after the other, they can change your attitude about this discussion and help you create a comprehensive interpretation of your results. Basically you are interpreting your results. Let's see how they are. The purpose of the discussion section is to place your findings in the research context, right? This is what known, this is what I have done, and what difference does my observations make. You have to place it in context and explain. That is to explain the meaning of the findings, why they are important, without appearing arrogant. You cannot say that I am the only one who can do this. This is not the thing, or whatever I say is correct. That is not. These are arrogant statements. But you have to say it in a convincing manner, and therefore others can appreciate in the context. That's very, very important. The structure of the first 2 moves in the discussion section is almost a mirror reflection of the one that is in the introduction. So you have to orient the reader towards your discussion section. You have to understand every section at the end of it, you're going to change the style. So therefore you have to reorient the reader to whatever you're going to say immediately after that. Whether it is results. Again, I said that there has to be a brief introduction about why you have done what you have done, right? Here also there is something like that, right? So in the introduction, you zoom in from a general to specific and from background to your research question. So that's what you have done in introduction section that we just now described. In the discussion, what you do is you zoom out basically. You have a specific question you have asked and you have got some specific results, observations. Now you have to place it back in the larger map. For that you have to zoom out, therefore people can understand. It is like a piece in a puzzle. If I focus to that piece, then you cannot really understand the context. So you zoom out, I can understand where the piece was. So it is zoom out from the summary of your findings to research context and place it in the context, therefore people can understand. So this is a challenging task. It's not easy, depending on the nature of result, the nature of study, nature of observation that you have to write it in a different way. Some of the moves that discussed here are, the move 1 is the study's major finding. You take the best significant observation that you have, sell it first, and then place them in the research context, and then you close the paper by saying something like this is still not known and limitations of the study and so on. So state the study's major finding. So you may have 5 different observations, but you try to put them in an order such that the most significant one comes first, followed by the other, right? Explain the meaning and importance of your finding. Consider alternative explanation. You may say that this is what happens, possibly, but you cannot rule out the other one. You may better say the other one also. It is also possible that you have not tested, right? You have not tested, therefore you cannot say that doesn't exist. So you have to say that alternative explanations are required when you interpret your results. When it comes to research context, compare and contrast your findings with those of other published results. It's important to relate your findings to already existing discoveries that are there in the literature, and say whether your observations are very similar to others, or does it support the other conclusion people have drawn that, or does it extend, or does it question, does it change the way people would perceive the field after your paper is published. So these are the things that you need to narrate there, and then explain any discrepancies and unexpected findings, right? For example, somebody their results are very different from what you have gotten. Now you want to say why possibly my results are different from others. You have to give some explanation, right? If possible, you say at least speculate. It's important. No study is complete, so you need to understand that there are limitations in the study. So therefore, you have to state the limitations and weakness in your study. You may not have addressed every question. Some are convincingly answered, some are to some extent, some still not yet answered. So you have to say what is the weakness and assumptions of your study. These are very, very important. Therefore, you don't want the referee to say, you don't want the editor to say, you don't want somebody else to say that they have published this paper, but this is the weakness of the study. You acknowledge that these are weaknesses. That's fine, perfectly fine. You cannot answer every question, right? But you should know that this has to be mentioned. And finally, the discussion section should be closed by summarizing the answers of the research question. There has to be a take-home message. You give a summary, indicate the importance of the work by stating applications, recommendations, and implications. You say that, conclude, as to how possibly your observations or this particular finding can help others in terms of whatever that you are trying to address. So that's what called as discussion and conclusion, right? Your discussion and conclusion section should answer the question what your results mean. In some journals they have discussion and they'll have a small section called conclusion. You sort of one small summary, 50 words, you sort of summarize as to what your results mean. In some it is combined, they don't tell you to give a separate section for discussion or conclusion, but then your discussion, the last few sentences should be take-home messages that end discussion section with a take-home message. There are problems, you have to understand what you should avoid. Do not waste time in restating your results. Discussion is for discussion. It's not for results. Results you already mentioned, you have discussed. Again saying, narrating again results is waste of time for the reader, not for you, right? And you have wasted the space that is otherwise given for the discussion too. So you should never restate your results verbatim, right? You assume that readers have read that, there is a results section. If they have not understood something, they can go back and read, right? Therefore, don't waste your time in restating your results. Do not introduce new results in the discussion section. This is another common mistakes people do. So they would not have discussed all the results in the discussion in the results section. To strengthen something, they will say that we also found something without discussing it in the results section. You bring in some new results here. That is unacceptable, right? So you can only talk about results that either that you have placed in the results section with all the data, or the results that have been published, which is already available in the literature. Only that can be referred to and discussed. You cannot introduce something new there. These are very, very important elements that you see, and that's sort of gives you an idea as to how do you write discussion section. Often you will find in the research paper that the discussion section also has another element immediately after that. It's called as acknowledgement section. Whether it is thesis, whether it is research paper, you have this particular section which is very, very important. This is not very challenging, it is easier to write as compared to any other section, but it is as important as any other section, and this is called as acknowledgement section. So, this section is to thank all the people who helped with the research, but did not qualify for authorship. Those who provided intellectual assistance, technical help, or special equipment, material, and for example, the funding body for research grants if applicable. So, you may have wanted to do certain experiments, you never did this before, therefore, you consulted somebody who is an expert in this area and he helped you to come up with methodology, helped you with the experiments. So, he really helped with his technical expertise, but he is not an author in the paper, but you must acknowledge his contribution, because without him you would not have done that experiments. That he deserves a place here. You should say he or she helped me with this set of experiments, and you thank him or her for this. Or somebody would have given you some reagent. This is not commercially available, right? Somebody given you reagent, and because of the reagent you are able to do the experiments, otherwise you wouldn't have done that. So, they are not an author, but they are able to give the reagent with something that they made in the lab, right? Again, you have to acknowledge. And you had results, you are unable to explain the results. So, you went and discussed with somebody, your colleague or your teacher in the department or institute, and he was able to explain possibly this is what the results mean, which really opened the door for you, did more experiments, and you are able to prove that indeed that is the case. So, now he may have spent only 10 minutes listening to you and giving you a tip, but this is as important as conducting an experiment, because without which you would never looked at that particular angle. So, that is intellectual input that he has given or she has given. So, that should be acknowledged. Somebody would have helped you in running an a high end facility, for example confocal microscopy, you wanted to do some imaging study, or HPLC facility, you want to characterize some protein, and there is a operator technical person who did this for you, and you have to acknowledge, because he saved time for you, she saved time for you, did everything, and somebody allowed his or her facility for your use, right? Then your equipment, you acknowledge, and then most often research involves a lot of grants and money spent on that project. So, you acknowledge funding body, or you have had fellowship which helped you during the 4 years, 5 years of your stay. So, you have to acknowledge, this is very, very important, right? So, therefore, the acknowledgement section, you should never leave out anybody who otherwise helped you in one or the other way, but in significant way in carrying out this particular project. In research paper, it is better to avoid thanking Almighty and parents and other things. These are not professional help. Okay, it's okay to write that in your thesis, because that is pretty much your book that you are publishing, but research paper, these are not allowed. This is only those help that are the moral support and others that are not acceptable here. It is only those help that help you to carry out the experiment in a direct way, right? So, that's all should be covered. The other section that follows immediately after acknowledgement is reference section. Basically, you cite every source of the information. You should reference other work to establish the origin of the ideas. So, in fact, no statement in your paper except the section where you have result section, the introduction, methods, and some bit of discussion where you are referring to something else, should always, every statement should end with a reference, because that is something you are summarizing from something else, somebody else publication, somebody else ideas. So, you have to cite appropriate work to establish the origin of ideas, justify claims. You say that we have published some time back or something like that, or this method has been validated several times. Now, you have to give citations as to which are the papers that use this method, and the method is reliable. So, you have to justify. Provide a context of your research. When you are discussing your results, you may say that similar observations are made in a different species or different context. You want to cite some paper. That's again show there is interest, your field of research. You explain as to how that would help. So, again you have to cite papers, say that why your discovery, invention could be of relevance to somebody else. That is what it is. Never cite a publication based on what you have read in a different publication. Often people do this mistake. They read an abstract or a paper and there is something cited, they use the similar language to cite a paper which you have not read, and you are assuming that the other person who did this is accurate. Maybe he is not, or maybe she is not. By doing that, you are going to end up in problem, right? So you should always go back to the original literature and read, and based on that, you should cite, and never go by title, never go by abstract, that they have proven something. Somebody write in their abstract say that we have solved this mystery, and you read only that, and you say that you are writing that they have so and so has solved the mystery, without really looking into the data whether what they are claiming is accurate. Then you are saying that you are not that careful, because you are not validated that work. You are not gone and looked at the results, and you are citing without really seeing whether what they are saying is accurate or not. So these may mislead you and the readers. Therefore, you have to be careful when you cite something. Read the publication itself before you cite it, and then check the accuracy of citation again before submitting your manuscript. So it may be jumbled, maybe something's changed, then it's going to end up creating problems. So take care of all these things before you finalize your manuscript.